everybody, and welcome back to All the Things Sort of Truth, the alcohol-fueled chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sort of Truth series with a bag full of craft brew on the side. I'm Jade.
And I'm Nate. And this week we're going to be drinking our way through Chapter 34 of Stone of Tears. And that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Cheers.
So, the setting for this chapter is actually, pretty perfect for what we do on this podcast. They're drinking at a bar. Well, Zedd's not drinking. He's drinking tea, but...
Yeah, no booze for him.
There's booze in the room, okay?
It is something that you see in this chapter. It really doesn't come up that often, but it is clear that in this chapter there's a theme of those who are not drinking and those who are drinking.
Right, it goes back to Terry's, the one who drinks... what was the thing he said?
The better a man at drinking...
Yes.
The worse he is at thinking.
Yes. I think it's maybe a subtle theme, but it's definitely a theme in this chapter.
Yeah.
So, Zedd goes down into the tavern immediately following his talk with Adie in the last chapter. And on his way down, he finds a basket of canes, which I feel like is pretty convenient. Maybe he saw the canes on their way up, and that's what made him think he needed one.
Well, it definitely caught his eye. And the one he picks is badass. Black, sleek. It's got the silver top on it. It's like the description was a cane I want when I am Zedd's age, but will probably need when I'm younger than Zedd.
It made me think of Lucius Malfoy's.
Yeah.
His wand is in his, but, it's more badass if it's a sword anyways.
I mean, yeah, I was about to say same difference, but yeah, a magic wand is pretty cool. But no, I would happily do with a sword cane.
Yeah.
That would be fine with me.
I just realized what I said, and a wand is definitely cooler than a sword. So, yes, I would definitely be good with just a sword in one, though, and so is Zedd. He brings it to the Master Hillman, the proprietor of the tavern, and tells him basically, I don't give a shit what it costs, put it on my tab.
Yeah, rich dudes are not supposed to ask about the price. What I did think was interesting anyways. Zedd picked the cane up and feels it in his hand. He tests the length, which is, when you have a proper fitting cane, you're supposed to have a slight bend in your elbow with the cane touching the ground. Just a slight bend.
Did you look that up for this?
No, that's actually just knowledge I've had.
Oh. Okay.
No more questions. But he holds it and he's like, it's a little heavy. And then the guy shows him that there's a sword inside. He's perceptive. He picked up on that. I wouldn't know how to weight a cane,
Yeah, but I mean, you're way better than I am at just estimating weight in general. So I feel like maybe you would be able to lift something and be like, that feels weird. But okay. I would probably be like, no fucking clue.
Well, it's a little bit heavy, and that makes it good for weapon stuff.
Yes.
So
good weapon stick is good in most situations.
Even if the sword fails you at that point, you can always whap stuff.
Zedd told this dude that his name is Reuben Ribnick, and Addie's name is Elda? Which weird name.
Elda.
Yeah.
She's an Elda. What? True.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm fooling. But people in Boston were like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It's not that funny, but I...
Did I get you? Is this going to turn out to be an outtake?
No, we're okay. We're okay. So, Zedd loves the name Reuben, probably because it makes him think of sandwiches. That's what I was thinking every time it was said. I was like, I actually really hate sauerkraut, but in the case of a Reuben sandwich, I can get down with that shit. He gets increasingly frustrated the more this chapter goes on because this Hillman man won't call him Reuben. He refuses.
Yeah, he chose the name because he likes the first name. Ribnick is of no consequence to him, but he damn sure does not want to be called Master Ribnick. And this guy does it rapid fire. Zedd's like, hey, call me Reuben. And he just kind of chuckles and says like, oh, yeah, well, of course, Master Ribnick, whatever you want. And he gets so pissed off by this. He's actually, in a little bit, he snaps at one of the serving girls in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, Reuben! Oh,
okay.
Shit. And, I mean, she ends up remembering, but I think Zedd should have gone the route of, look here, I'm a rich guy. See my badass cane that I just didn't even ask the price of? All of that money goes away if you call me Master Ribnick one more time.
See, and I think that's how he expected it to go. He was like, I'm rich. He'll call me whatever I want. But I think it's probably more common for rich guys and maybe like more proper for rich guys to go by their title.
Yeah.
So it was probably just like out of place. And the guy was like not listening. He's like, I gotta keep your business. I'm gonna call you by the thing you're supposed to be fucking called, and I'm not even gonna listen to what you're actually saying to me.
I mean, like in my company, still a relatively small company, maybe I guess 75 employees. I know the owner by his first name, but in a larger company, it's completely commonplace for you to be like, yes, Mr. So-and-so, or no, Mr. So-and-so. You're not on a first name basis with that guy. But like for this, you're trying to smooze money out of people. Like, you're trying to give them exactly what they want and then get money for it. So if the dude says, hey, call me Ruben, you should be calling him Ruben every 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Well, if that's what he wants, give it to him.
But maybe he just doesn't have a lot of experience with, like, actually rich people. Because I feel like you're right. Especially in a bar, you would expect somebody to just listen to what the fuck you're saying because he wants your tips. But if you're just completely, like, thrown off guard by them asking something that you wouldn't expect, you'd just be like, okay, I'm going to go back to what I know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess I can see that. If he's in, well, I guess it wouldn't be shell shock, but, like, bill shock, money shock? What is it? I don't know. Rich guy shock, then dude's just trying to make money. That's where I would be. Like, yeah, it's customer service, man.
Yeah, he's just like, fuck, you're here. You're paying me money. Stay here. I don't care. Whatever.
I'll call you whatever the fuck you want. Just give me money.
Speaking of whatever the fuck he wants, Zedd wants a table by the kitchen so he can smell all the wonderful smells coming out there, which is a very Zedd thing. Fuck the music. I want to sit by the kitchen.
Yeah, he doesn't want to sit by the bard. If I may complain for just a moment. I know Zedd loves food, so I can't really imagine him breaking with that and choosing to sit over by the bard, but live music being what it is, especially lately, how cool would it be to be able to sit in a restaurant and have one dude just like jamming on a lute for you? Or like for the room. We've been to restaurants where in Arizona, where there was just like a couple people sitting up front in the restaurant jamming, and it was awesome.
I think especially if you're by yourself, it's probably a really cool thing to be up close. I do know that, like, in some small rooms with certain setups, they can, like, blow you out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
So I could see if he had, like, a big amp or something, or Zedd had a table full of people, maybe he wouldn't want to sit by the bard. But yeah, if you're just one person, like, sit up there and listen to the jams, man. Especially if you're getting food. Sniff your food.
Yeah, well, that's true. But yeah, of course he would sit by the kitchen, but I was like, I would sit by the bard, because that's awesome.
Yeah. It may also actually be strategic, because he is there to look for something, and also not be noticed. So he may be sitting near the kitchen so nobody sees him, and also so he can scope stuff out and talk to the wait staff without really, like, having much of an issue.
He's pulling an Al Capone. He's sitting all the way in the far corner by the kitchen so that nobody can come behind him and like surprise him, and he can keep eyes on the whole room. I didn't even realize that until you mentioned that, but Zedd is being totally tactical right now. Smart as hell.
Yes, and also, speaking about how smart he is, he notes real quick how nobody else is wearing a hat just for fashion in the room. Everybody's is completely functional and featherless.
He's got to be kicking himself like, God damn it, I had to get the hat.
I'm really surprised he actually keeps it on his head and doesn't just, like, take it off when he sits down. Like, oh, yes. God damn it.
Set it on the chair, kind of trying to hide it.
Let's all forget I had that on. Thanks.
But he wanted, like, he was so proud of it. Just in the last chapter, he tilted it and he got his cane now. He got the cane. It wasn't even like, I would look good in a big wide hat and a cane. Then he went out and actually did it. Like, I'll bet he's got platforms on.
Oh, God.
We know he's got nice robes now. I'm proud of him.
So Zed sitting in the corner with his platforms and his hat and all of his shit. Master Hillman brings his food over. Zed asks him for tea. He also gets some money converted. He has like 2 gold coins that he converts into multiple bags of smaller coin.
Oh, were you waiting for a commentary from me?
No.
All I have to add to that is it was the most confusing thing I ever read. Zed's like, what's the exchange rate? And this guy goes, I don't know, 41.55 and does all the math in his head.
Yeah.
20 to 1, something like that. And I'm like, you're telling people that's a guess, that you don't know, but that's what you think it is. In fact, you're pretty sure that's what it is. My first thought would have been, well, go check. Ask somebody. Or let me, because that's just, I mean, you're begging to get ripped off.
100% that was that man trying not to seem eager about getting Zed's money. Because he was like, he was too quick off the top. He knows his money shit.
That makes total sense. Because I was like, how do you not know? And then spit out a number that fast. And that, like, it wasn't 41. It was 41.55 or 31.55.
Yeah.
It was something like that. Whereas, like, that is a very accurate, or at least very specific guess.
Yes. It's not a guess.
That somebody without a clue wouldn't have known.
Well, he doesn't do anything weird with the money. He goes, he grabs the conversion, he comes back, but he doesn't bring the tea. He has his waitress, Julie, bring the tea. And
He's excited to do the money, and he was like, she can do the drinks. So I got the cash. That's fine with me.
I got another gold coin in my coffer. I'm happy. So Julie brings the tea over, and that's who you were talking about earlier when you were mentioning the waitress and how she actually does call him by Reuben, and he's very happy with this change.
Well, the first time she talks to him, he snaps at her because she's like, yeah, Master Ribnick. And he's like, Reuben. But he immediately changes his tone because what he just witnessed was a drunk man who said something rude he didn't hear and then, like, grabs her ass immediately before she came to his table.
Now we see a little bit of how Julie actually handles, like, the patrons of the pub, which actually probably speaks to why she calls him Reuben and the owner calls him Master Ribnick, because the owner probably doesn't normally deal with the public.
Yeah.
But, like, she knows that this is where her tip is coming from, and she's not going to get fucking paid if she doesn't call him what she wants.
Right. You be nice to the nice man. But, like, this guy's not being nice. He's being a dick.
Right.
And hands off. Rule number 1, you don't touch, like, in this situation, you don't touch your serving girl.
You shouldn't.
It just sounded weird to say. But, yeah, because it's pretty well a rule unspoken, right? Like, you just don't do that.
I think it should be. I've never actually worked any job like that, so I've never been accosted in that way, but it does seem like it's a fairly, like, common thing that happens in that line of work, because they're like, oh, the bartender / waitress definitely wants to go home with me, so I'm gonna hit on her.
Oh, yeah, even if they don't go as far as this guy, like grabbing her and then saying something fucking rude to her, which I can only really imagine what it was, but I'm sure they get flirted with and bothered all the time.
Yeah.
She wears it well, I will say, but she shouldn't have to. She's like, oh, he's a regular, he's fine, he's harmless for the most part, which is worrying for the most part.
Yeah.
And she just kind of laughs it off, but it's like you're saying, that's her income.
Yeah.
So she's just laughing it off so she doesn't freak out like she probably should and get fired and lose her job.
Yeah. I thought it was a little bit strange that when she is talking to Zed about it, she's like, you know, when he's saying that nasty shit to me, sometimes when he opens his mouth, I just wish he would hiccup. Like, what? If you've been dealing with these motherfuckers for any length of time, that is not what my response would be. Maybe to another patron, like, maybe you're not allowed to say, I wish somebody's foot would just go in his ass or something. Like, you know, something more graphic. I would definitely be more upset than she is.
Something more along the lines of, hey, I know that you just bought a cane with a sword in it, so just go kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I wish his tongue would, like, go down his throat when he